Hi everyone, welcome to the US CPA classes for regulation exam. So now we are starting chapter 3, that is your federal taxation of property transaction. In this particular video, I'll be walking you through in detail about type of properties that can be real property or personal property. Along with that, we'll do some practice question. So let's dive into to understand more in detail about type of properties. Yeah, so we have gone through the overview and everything. So now we'll be jumping directly onto the fourth chapter, which is starting off taxation part of it. So federal taxation of property transaction, similar to like capital gain or property plant on equipment sales, basically, right? So first thing we'll be understanding here is the type of property. So to understand the capital gain on property, first thing very important is to understand the property. What are the type of property? And this is like very different than what we are used to and what we are exposed to in India, right? So here we need to clearly look at like there are two type of property. The first one is real property and the second one is personal property, right? So the real property is that property which is being land or anything which is permanently attached to the land. So that property is called real property. Any other business property is called personal property. Here, most of the time, candidate, especially like Indian candidate, we get confused with the name or nomenclature as a personal property. So we believe like personal property is someone's personal property, right? But here, meaning is not that. Here, meaning of the personal property is all type of movable property, right? It can be car, computer, laptop, furniture, equipment, plant, machinery, right? So those all things which can move from one place to another place will fall under the category of personal property for the US individual taxation purpose, right? Clear everyone? Just keep giving me thumbs up so that I know like you are there and you are listening to me. Now, if you look at left hand side, immovable property, which include land or anything permanently attached to land. For example, growing over lands or permanent attachment to the land, like land and building, growing tree, fixture, electrical, which is permanently attached to the land. So those all things comes under the real property, right? On the right hand side, if you see personal property are movable property like car, computers, laptops, right? So now next question, for your understanding and the question to you, is it possible to convert any real property into personal property? Question to you is that, is it possible to convert real property to personal property? What do you think? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
How?
For
So if
example,
the
there are. Yeah, please.
yeah, carry on, please.
Yeah, Srinivas sir, go ahead, please.
If the real property is used for business purposes, then it becomes a business property, and if it is used for self purposes, then it becomes a personal property actually.
No, sir. Yeah, Pooja, what is your answer?
My answer was like, for example, growing trees. For example, if I cut them and use their timber and all, then that would be a part of personal property.
Yeah, yeah. So, Srinivas sir, like I said earlier, here most of the Indian student, like you, also get confused with the personal property name. So that is how these nomenclatures are different in US compared to India. So in US, there are two type of property. Here we are talking about all business property. One is real property, which is land or anything permanently attached to the land or growing over the land, which is land, building, growing tree. On the other side, other category of assets is called personal property, which is any movable property used for trade or business purpose, which is like car, laptop, computer, equipment. right? So here most of the Indian students get confused because we believe like personal property is my personal property that is not going to use in business purpose, right? So here the personal property mean is movable property. Make sense, sir?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Like racks that we are used for our computer servers and all those, and then almiras to store. Those all things are in a business.
Those all things are
What in a business, in an office, what
yes,
will be
yes,
called? Well, it will be called an immovable or a personal properties because
yes,
you can move them.
yes. So when it is movable, it's all personal property like table, chair, rack, they all are movable property and they all consider as a personal property. But when something is permanently attached to the building, for example, centralized AC, right? For example, you can say electric boards, right? For example, permanent some wooden structure which is being
Yes,
attached to the wall, like like permanent fixed almirah. Normally, like in whom we all have in wardrobe, right? That is being something permanently attached, right? So
So
those
you are
things,
saying, just because their depreciation treatment is different, that's why they are considered into immovable and movable. Even though
yes,
both of those type of properties are used for business as well as or maybe
yes,
in a business, but we are considering two different versions just because for
yes.
depreciable asset reason. Okay.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. For both the category, actually depreciation method is right. So now coming to, can we convert a real property into personal property? Answer is yes. So what is real property? For example, let's assume you have a coal mine, right? Till the time coal is in the you can say mine, so it is a real property. But when you extract the coal and use it for some other purpose, then it is being a personal property. Same way, like the sands, when it is in the mines or when it is in the ground, it is being a real property. But when sand is extracted and put it into bags, right? So then it is a movable property. So it is a personal property, right? On the other side also, the personal property can be converted into a real property, right? For example, bricks. Till the time the bricks are independently lying on the floor, it is movable property, it is personal property. But when you make a wall of those bricks, it is being a real property, right? Same way, like we were discussing earlier about like AC, right? Till the time these AC equipments are separate, so they are movable, they are personal property. When it is permanently attached to the building, so it is a fixture and then it become a real property. Make sense? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if you look at the third box called severance, example like growing tree cut into the firewood or sand is dug from the ground and loaded on the truck. So if there is like growing tree, so till the time they are tree, it is a real property. But when you cut down those tree into the small pieces of wood, it become a personal property. On the right hand side, if you see, it's called attachment. That means the bricks which are being used to build the wall, centralized AC installed in a house or building during the construction, then it become a real property, right? So I'm quickly summarizing this. Type of property are two type. One is real property and one is personal property. Are you guys right? Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes,
excuse me,
please.
sir.
Yes, yes.
can you give some more examples of this personal property, real property? Because as I think, centralized is always come with the building itself. It doesn't come separately. That's why it's called centralized. So can you please elaborate it more?
Yeah, for example, like electric fittings, which you do for a building, that is also like till the time it is in wire, it is a personal property. But when it is being, like fixed into the walls, like that, then it's a permanent fixture, right? You cannot extract and use it, right? So then it become a real property. Or I would
So
say,
it means furnitures and fixtures which are attached with the building permanently is a real property.
yes, yes. Same way, like for example, any of you have seen any plants by any chance, any manufacturing plant by any chance?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So there in plant, you'll see there may be some heavy machineries, right? And that with those heavy machinery, it may be possible for that there is a separate platform construction has been built, and those machinery might have been put along with that platform so that they will not move around, right? Then those machinery which is being permanently attached to the land, right, is also become a real property, right? For example, like I was auditing a company called Goodyear. So they are into like tire manufacturing company. I'm not sure like any of you have experience working with any manufacturing company, but what I have experience over there, so there are like molds which give shape to the tire, right? And for molds, what they do, they create a platform which is almost 3 feet height and 3 feet depth in the you can say in the floor, right? And then they put the base of the mold in the, you can say, that platform, and only the cap is being outside the platform, where you can say the rubber is being put so that the tire can take a shape, right? So those machinery which is being permanently fixed into the land at the time of installation is also comes under the real property category. Make sense?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
in the manufacturing plant as well,
Hmm.
when they use like trains and dollies to transfer product from one station to another,
Mhm.
those are
Personal
like
property.
personal
Yeah,
property, right?
those all personal, like trucks, cranes, JCB, forklifter, they all will
Okay,
be personal property,
okay, thanks.
right? Okay, right. So, like quickly, let me summarize. The property are of two types, real property and personal property. Real property is that property which is land or anything which is permanent attached to the land or growing over the land. Personal property is all other category of movable property are called personal property. It is possible that real property can convert into personal property, and it is also possible that any personal property can convert into real property. Both the things are possible, but you need to understand the scenario case by case, right? Next is, oh, there's a small question over here. Okay, let's do this question. Which of the following statement is the best definition of real property? First is real property is only land. Second is real property is all tangible property, including land. Third is real property is land and intangible property in realized form. And the last one is real property is land and everything permanently attached to it. Which option is correct?
Last
Last one.
option.
Option 4.
Last.
Right, you all are right. So these type of question you can expect in your examination for the multiple choice question. So, like what we have done in the entire book, you will see like after each topic, there are few questions to practice. And all the question which we have taken is from the last couple of year question from AICPA site only, right? So these all questions, some or the other time have been came in the CPA examination. From there only we have extracted the question bank. Next
Sir, I
is,
have a question.
yes, please.
Sir, in conversion of real property to personal property, for like the example which you gave, growing tree cut into firewood. So firewood would convert into inventory, right, instead of a property, because
Yeah.
depending upon the nature of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we say that it will become a personal property?
Yeah, no, very good observation, Shambhu here. So, like firewood, right? You rightly said it can be inventory, or the wood pieces can be used for construction of, doors, or maybe windows, or maybe wooden houses, right? So then it can be into a personal property. So it depends on situation to situation, case to case, that we all need to analyze.
Okay, and also in case of conversion of personal property to real property, so brick in itself will not be considered as a property unless it is put into wall and created some asset, right?
Mm-hmm.
So brick in itself is not a property, or it can be considered as a property depending upon the business.
Yeah, it depends on like business to business. If it is, like for example, someone is trader, for him it may be inventory, but someone is, like into the construction business, for them it will be like capital work in progress.
So, I mean, I had this query because, like, in case of rate of depreciation or calculation of depreciation, whether these things would be considered as inventory or the property, then only we can be clear with respect to the depreciation.
Again, that's what I'm saying. For example, like if you are just a trader, for you
Hmm.
the brick will be inventory. But if you are a
Hmm.
builder, then it may be your work in progress, capital work in progress. So it will get capitalized.
So, unless it will be capitalized, it won't be depreciated in the income tax, right?
Yeah, yes. Until like things
Okay.
will capitalize, you will not be charging depreciation. Yes, you're right.
Okay. Okay, sure. Thank you.
A very good question. I think I'm sure like many of you may have this question in your mind. Thanks for asking, Shambhu. Okay, so next topic is capital asset. So, like when I was discussing this with you, like when we were discussing in detail about the overview of federal taxation of property transaction, so some part of it, which is like the capital gain specifically, has been moved, and the planning for capital gain is moved to the TCP examination. So now your regulation examination is being having almost 20% of, you can say, the material has been moved to TCP, which is tax compliance and procedure. So in the capital gain, there are a lot of things, but that is not no more part of regulation examination. Some part of it has moved to TCP, right? So we'll be discussing which has been coming in your CPA examination. So some part of it will be covered in TCP, which we will be starting after the regulation examination. So the next classes we'll be starting is a TCP, because regulation and TCP are interconnected and interrelated. So now coming to the next topic, which is capital asset. So capital assets include all property except inventory. Second, depreciable property or real property used in trade and business as a real estate, right? For them, it is an inventory again. Next is account receivable, note receivable, right? And the fourth point here, you need to be very mindful. Copyright, literature, artistic or musical compensation in the hand of creator, or anyone who assumed the creator basis receiving through gift. For them, it is not a capital asset, right? For example, I am a music composer. For me, the music is inventory. For example, I am a you can say designer, or I'll make you can say drawings. For me, the drawings which I'm making is inventory. For example, I am a you can say dancer. So the music, the composition, or the dance, or the film which I have created, right? For me, it is an inventory. But if someone has purchased the IP, for them it is a capital asset. For example, like any individual who is being a singer, right, and his song has been purchased as an IP by any company, so then it is an intangible asset for that company. But for the creator, it is always remain an inventory. So it will not consider as a capital asset for creator. So that is different, right? This kind of, you can say, analysis we do not have in Indian taxation, but this is slightly different from India to US. Clear? Again, I am reiterating copyright, literature. Yes, please.
Sir, the question that we discussed before that, and there was a point number 3, which says the real asset, real property is land and intangible property in realized form. So somebody who has got this copyright or ownership of any asset which is going to be part of its land or any plant, is it not going to be a real property?
Sir, the question is, which of the following statement is best definition of real property? Real property is land or anything permanent attached to the land. So there is no
So that's what I'm
concept of.
asking. That's what I'm asking. So if a person is setting up a factory and bought a copyright for a machinery designed by some other, like Rolls-Royce, and these guys they prepare heavy machineries and then they hand over to the business with a copyright as well, that they can either replicate this machinery or they can do changes or modification as per the requirement, because it comes with a copyright, whether you can change or you cannot change. So that's what I say. If somebody has purchased that copyright and installed that machine in the factory, will it not be a part of real property?
Let me reiterate what I understood from your question. For
I'll give an
example,
example. I'll give an example. Like India purchased Rafale.
yeah,
It's a big deal. And when they purchased Rafale, they also purchased the copyright to customize the aircraft as per India requirement. Earlier, it was not part of the deal. So same
yeah,
thing.
but Rafale is like the personal property in this definition. That will not fall into real property because that is
No, I'm
not.
just giving an example. Like chasing a right to use a product prepared by a machinery manufactured by somebody else.
Yeah, so let me elaborate and articulate through an example. So you let me know like this example fit into what question you have in your mind, right? For example, like Volkswagen is a company, and they are setting up a plant, let's assume in India, like in Pune, Chakan, they have plant, right? So what they have done, like Volkswagen, I think it's a German-based company. So they have given certain design in which that plant has to be built, right? That is your question, for example, right? So according to that design, you have done the construction of the plant, right? Second thing is they have been giving you certain machinery. For that, certain infrastructure you need to develop, right? So that those machinery can come and fit into it, right? So the all infrastructure requirement you are developing so that respective machinery can come and fit into that particular infrastructure till the time it is a real property. Yes. But for that Indian company, for example, Indian plant, we will be paying for the plant or machinery. But I don't think so we'll be paying for designing part of it. So design will be the requirement so that that machinery can come and fit into the particular place. So we may not be purchasing the design, but designing would be the requirement so that respective machinery can come and properly fit and to be used for the purpose for which we are purchasing. Are you getting my point, Rakesh?
You are going toward the same point, but I'll give you another example. Maruti Suzuki. This car has been manufactured in India for a very long time. But you are aware that Suzuki still holds the copyright of certain parts, and they had not sold that certain parts to India Manufacturing Division, like gearbox and certain, and they manufacture in their Suzuki plant, and then they transport to India, and the India manufacturing industry that fits them. Other than that, Maruti Suzuki India has purchased the copyright of developing entire car from them, and they paid that price for that. So my question, so I'm asking that when they have purchased the copyright to manufacture the entire car except few special parts which Suzuki kept with them, will not be a part of their real property?
No, that will be part of intangible asset. That will not part of real property.
That's what I hear. Now, the point number 3 is real property is land and intangible property in realized form.
Sorry, I still didn't understand your point. So real property is land and intangible property are not part of real property.
Okay.
Intangible properties will be your copyright, will be your you can say goodwill, or will be your patents, right? Those are like intangible property. But here what we are saying, those intangible property are not considered as capital asset in the hand of creator. But anyone who is purchasing, for them it is an intangible asset, not real asset. Make sense?